Hey everybody, Charlie Stevens here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another guitar lesson. In our last lesson, we started learning about bass walks and we checked out what happened when we were on G, making our way to C. In this lesson, we're going to look at what happens when C goes back to G. And at the end, we'll check out what happens if C were to go up to D as well. Okay? The possibilities for this are actually endless when we're implementing the theory that I laid out in the last video, which basically states that we pick a root of one chord, we pick a root of a different chord, and we connect the dots using quarter notes, trying to create an exciting movement towards those notes, okay? So as long as you're following that rule, you can be pretty creative and come up with whatever you want. Certain things will sound more stylistically correct for certain styles and not quite as correct for other styles and things like that. But you can have a lot of fun just kind of playing around with these possibilities. So I'd really encourage you to do that. And we're just going to kind of scratch the surface in this one. And I'll just show you a few that I think make a lot of sense and that sound really good. Okay? So the first one is basically the opposite of our other one. So example number one, that's the walk. We're going to go bass, strum, and then on 3 and 4 we'll go connect the chord tones from C. Don't have enough. Right? So we can hear stuff like this happens a lot, okay? We're just walking through the scale. And just like we did this in our last video, we wouldn't have enough time. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd get to that on beat 4 if we started right on beat 1. So we can't do that. So we have to play this on beat 1. Have to with a big asterisk because we can do whatever we want when we're playing music. But we're probably going to be playing this one. If we're doing our boom chuck pattern like in measure 1, when we get to measure 2, we're going to want that C on beat 1, right? That's kind of part of what we're doing with this bass walk. We're putting roots on the 1 for now. So anyway, we're assuming we're here. So on 2, we need to do a strum. That gives us the rest of the time we need to go 3, 4, and then when we get to G, we land it. Came out right. Okay, so let's try that. Example number 1, we'll have one regular boom chuck with alternating bass of C. Then we'll have a measure with half a boom chuck. Boom chuck, boom, boom, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom. Sound good? Okay, here it is. Nice and slow. Example number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Okay, in our last video, we had done G to C. So please watch that one if you haven't seen that, because they kind of go together. That was basically that one in reverse. The first one of those in reverse. Okay. The second one of those when we did G. One we did boom chuck, boom boom boom, right? And one we doubled the bass note, boom 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 boom. So that's what we can do with C the opposite way too. We can go 1 instead of 2 a strum. We'll go 2 will be another C note. 3 and 4 will still be exactly where they just were. Okay? Does that make sense? I hope so. Let's do it together. Here's example number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple, that one, I think, right? Okay, great. Now, in example number 3, we're going to do something a little different. I like that one. That's a very common one. This is also common in jazz. That kind of thing you'll hear a lot in bluegrass. I hear Billy Strings has a variation and he does that in his song Watch It Fall, which I thought was pretty cool. But anyway, this one is really cool because it has this cool jump in it. So the reason this works, actually, that's the biggest jump in it. You might not think of that, right? And then every single note, 2, 3, 4, 1, that really leads me there once I get to that open E, so it sort of makes sense once we get to there. So to me, the hardest part of understanding why this works is understanding why we can go from C all the way down to that E. But really it's because E is the next note in our C chord, right? This is an E right here. I have an open E string in my C chord usually too, right? We usually don't play the low E on C, just because it muddies it, but we can. It's a member of the chord. So we go from one chord tone. This is actually still a chord tone of C as well. Hey Joe. Man, so much to learn. I'll maybe show you guys that at some point too. So I'm just going to kind of point little things out as I notice it, but don't worry if we're not getting into all of that stuff today. But yeah, this is really good to know because it's Hey Joe, right? That's exactly how they connect those dots. All right, now we're officially getting a little carried away. So that's just a little background why I happen to like this one and some examples of where we've heard it in the past. Hey Joe, jazz. Hopefully this one is familiar to you. Let's go ahead and sneak it in there. So this goes in measure 2. We have one measure of regular boom chuck on C. Simple as that. Can we try it together, please? 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. Okay, so those are all the examples I have for you today of when C is going to G. Let's check out what happens when C goes to D. So again, there's lots of different possibilities on how we can do this. We're just going to check out 2 different ways that C likes to go up to D, okay? They're 2 frets away. C is here, D is on my open D string, which we know from the tuning video that I did. Please check that out if you haven't seen that. But we know that the unison note of D is also here. So really those are 2 frets away. So really we have to somehow connect that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We could do that. You know, lots of different things. But here's a few options I came out with. One was a boom chuck, half a boom chuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I'm playing that D on the open string. 1, 2 is going to be a strum, right? 3 is going to be the same note again. Remember how last time we either did a strum or we doubled the note? Since these are closer, we have to do both. We have to play it, strum, play it again, then we can start our chromatic walk, and that will land us out right. 1, 2, 3 on the same place, 4 with the pinky on the 4th fret, and 1. We land on the open D string, part of our D chord. Boom chuck that till we get back to our G. Okay? So we got a measure of C, that boom chuck's regular. And then we have our new pattern, okay? So this is example number 4. Let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. All right, so in this next one, instead of that strum we did, on beat 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, we're just going to change the thing that happens on beat 2 now. Everything else is going to be exactly the same as the last time, but instead of doing a strum, we're going to do this move, which I really like. So we start on C, we go down to B, half step lower, and now 1, 2, now we get this little chromatic passage. 3, 4, 1. I really like that. So we have one measure of boom chuck. Little boom shakalaka if you want. I didn't write that out in the example, so I'm not trying to confuse you. I just kind of felt right to do that. And you should be mixing and matching these as you take them to make them your own. Don't take these examples to be too literal. I just made them to illustrate things that you potentially can do. Okay? All right, let's try that one together. This is example number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Well, that's what happens when we're on C and we're going either to G or up to D. Those are just a few options, but again, sky's the limit. Come up with your own ways to do this. That's a good way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I pressed the D from another chord tone of C, this E. anyway, lots of different ways to do this. So I'll let you experiment on your own with some of the ways that I didn't lay out. But these are just a few nice, easy, logical ways that I think is a good place to start. All right, well, please join me for another guitar lesson really soon. We're going to keep building off this. I'll show you a few other chords that we could walk together, and then we'll put these together into a song. And yeah, we'll see how we can incorporate boom chucks and the bass walks, and all this stuff will really start coming together. All right, well, thanks again for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I look forward to seeing you in another guitar lesson really soon. Thanks again.